10th. We made a point to talk in the summer of 21. So we touched base, and he's like, we're making some updates. I think you're going to like what we have to see. I said, okay. And at that time, he quickly showed me how there was a new graphic with the student and teacher overlap. That was new at the time. And then we came back in September. He's like, well, look at our library now. He's like, not only do we have the library resources, but we also have lessons. So teachers can just download these lessons. They don't have to create these PowerPoints. It's all done for them. So that's what we liked, but went a step further and gave actual lessons prepared for teachers. And that's what we then said, this is what we want. We have a student voice piece. What we loved was that we had your perspective. And it's still, we could do that in a couple minutes, which is really important for teachers, because that screener only took a couple of minutes. And what's more important is when a student flags, the next screener, the diagnostic, also just takes a couple of minutes. What we've now found is, now that I've started to go through the data, is that student piece, which was by the way, which we loved, how easy it was for students to take and give. The other thing, let me take one step back, was your rubric. So it had 8 questions, and teachers could interpret that very differently. You gave us a rubric where there was no more interpretation. Like, this is where it means from 0 to 10. And that's what we were then like, we don't have to sit down, because we had to sit down and we had to think of every possible scenario of answering question 1, 2, and 3. We didn't have to do that. It was given to us. So that rubric, so between the resources, the quickness, the rubric, and really Joseph constantly answering our questions and reaching out to us, we're like, that's it, we're sold. Now that we've done our first screening, I think the teachers are really liking how easy it was to give, how there was no guessing, like there was a rubric for each of those CASEL standards. And for my end and the administrator's end and the school counseling end, since now that I'm crunching this data, that student piece is very, very, very important. What we're seeing is that students are rating themselves much lower than the teachers are. There is a huge disconnect in our district between what students are feeling and internalizing and what teachers are seeing in the classroom. But what it's doing now is it's helping us see that there are some quiet kids who just are internally feeling things that we had no idea about. And this is the data that we've been wanting. What has transpired is really good conversations now we're starting to have about what is really happening with these kids in our district. So that is now having us start to think about what's our next step? What do we do? And it verifies a data point we got a year ago. We had an outside company come in and do a study on our students at the middle school. And what was reported was our minority students felt very disconnected from the school, felt very disconnected from the teachers, and felt very disconnected from the community. Didn't feel they were acknowledged or recognized. And now that study got paired with this data. And I'm like, it's just confirming. Oh, I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, it was definitely a 10. It was really, it was easy. I've been doing this role since 2013. So I'm really used to, like, anything new, you're always gonna have glitches, and teachers are gonna have, learning pains. It's just part of the process. But overall, it's been very, very easy to use. And what I love is that you're still responding to us. So when we do have simple questions, I email Eric or Kelly. I mean, within an hour, they get back to me. And I want to say thank you so much for honoring that library, because that was one of the biggest selling points for us, was that library. I don't have any right now.
I really love that. I love the long pause and the like.
I mean, I really thought about, I'm thinking about my experience. I really don't have one. I mean, The Clever Sync was easy. With other programs, the Clever Sync was a complete hot mess. And we ended up unsyncing because it ruined our data. So that did not happen at all. So no, I can't think of anything, honestly. What's been helping too is your library, because now as we group students, we are now able to have those resources of tier 2 and tier 3 by subskill, not by standard, but by subskill, which is now invaluable to us as well.